Hey guys, what it do? It's your boy Supreme Uchiha the God, and well, today I want to talk about a battle that I think is actually the most anticipated battle, maybe second to Blackbeard versus Luffy in One Piece. To be honest, I think it's probably more anticipated than that. For Mihawk, I think we have to remember that Mihawk is a character that made his legendary name before even Shanks, right? He made his name alongside the likes of Riley and Zebek and obviously the Pirate King himself, which is interesting. Like, he was already well known during those times. Now obviously he wasn't as quite as infamous as they were, right? But Whitebeard and all them knew of him and knew about his legend and his status already. He predates the pirate era, in fact, right? He was already well known before the pirate era, which was started, of course, by the Pirate King. And I think the interesting thing about it here is that with Mihawk, there's like a loneliness to his character. There's a sadness to his character. He's bored, right? So I would say this, but One Piece is mainly about dreams, right? And freedom. And there's only one man that we know that's alive, right? Really, that has accomplished their dreams, right? We don't know if Gaban or Riley or whatever other characters have accomplished their dreams, right? But we do know that this man, Mihawk, maybe did, right? We don't know why he was fully a marine hunter. We know something happened and he went on a rampage and was killing marines left, right, and center. And yet, imagine him doing all of that. They invited him, and I think, right, correct me if I'm wrong, I think they created the whole Warlords of the Sea because of him, in order to basically keep him from killing them, right? And I think at that point already he was tired of being chased by marines, and he had kind of, I don't know, given up on something. Or maybe he got his revenge or whatever it is he wanted to do, and felt that it wasn't meaningful and it didn't accomplish anything. And so fighting was the next best thing. And I think him finding Shanks, and I think the duel with Shanks, I think the real explanation for that is that he just wanted an opponent that's comparable to his levels of skill when it comes to using the sword and haki, right? And I think Shanks was that. Shanks could, actually stand there and allow Mihawk to actually give a good swing and actually put in some effort without obliterating the opponent or killing them. And I think when Shanks lost his arm, he felt like he felt like the gap then would just be too much and it wouldn't be fun anymore, right? He wouldn't enjoy it anymore. And obviously him and Shanks are in good relations. He pulled up to Shanks' whole crew by himself, no fleet, no nothing. And we've seen that anytime, any like leader, right? We're gonna say leader, apart from Big Mom, pulls up to like another emperor of the sea, as they say, another emperor's place, right? Or territory. They usually pull up with a whole crew or they sneak through. Obviously Big Mom got kind of washed into Kaido's lair, but to be fair, Big Mom is friends kinda in good relations with Kaido anyway, so it was never going to be that big of an issue. And obviously Mihawk and Shanks were in good relations, so he also pulled up by himself. And I think the sadness in him is why he spared Zoro. I think Zoro kind of reinvigorated something in him, gave him something to look forward to, because the fact that he was chasing Don Creed, that dude, all the way out to East Blue. Obviously, it was because Oda needed Zoro to meet his future opponent and to establish the distance between, the Straw Hats and the strongest of the world. And I think, the fact that he was there chasing after this guy for annoying him, I think just showcased that, like, this guy is bored. This guy is, he likes being alone, it seems, but he he doesn't have anything to look forward to. And I think seeing Zoro's conviction and willingness to die, and even though Zoro knew that he had no chance, but he met the opponent, his goal, his dream. He has to fight. He has to try. He can't just say, I'm not strong enough and come back. No, he has to do it now. And when he obviously gets completely washed with a baby sword, and Luffy even sees with future sight, like, oh, I will die if I even try to attack this guy, or lose a limb if I try to attack this guy. I think it showcases something about him, and I think it showcases that he finally found somebody that he felt like, this kid has the conviction to reach me. And then Zoro and Zoro's end, he's not trying to be the world's strongest man, Zoro's man, just because he wants to be the world's strongest swordsman. I think obviously he had that dream as a kid, but I think it's really because of his friend. I think it's the sadness and the sorrow and the burden that he carries of his friend's death. I think he carries that weight like a boulder on his back, and that's something that I think he really, I don't want to say it haunts him, but he really just wants to accomplish for her sake, and of course his own sake too. And that's why he carries 3 swords, because the third one is hers, and he's almost okay with losing every single sword except the one he got from her, because that one holds more meaning. It's her whole life force, her whole dream, her future, all in that sword. And it's kind of a beautiful story, right? A super powerful man who already accomplished his goals and he's bored, and and then a young, hungry, hot-headed guy trying to reach that level and challenge this guy. But yet something ironic happens. That same hot-blooded student, if we may for Zoro, actually ends up begging Mihawk for him to train him, because his best friend and his leader, his captain, almost died, and he didn't want that to happen again. He didn't want to let his crew down ever again. He didn't want Luffy's dream to fail again. And so he gave up his dream for a second. He basically said, I concede my dream for his dream. So this is why I think the battle between Zoro and Mihawk will be so meaningful, because there's so much to explore with these characters. There's so much to take from this. The fact that those stories is going to lead them to this moment of them clashing swords. And I think those swords clashes won't just be a fight, it'll be a conversation of them sharing their emotions, their feelings, and their story to each other. I think Mihawk would be asking with every strike, have you actually surpassed me? And Zoro will be answering back with, yes, I have. I don't think either of them will be fighting with killing intent. I don't think it'll be possible because of the connection they now share. And I think there's a beauty to that as well. And I'm just so excited until we get that fight. And I think for me, that would probably be my favorite and the best fight in One Piece, because I care about both of these character stories, and I want to see Zoro succeed. And I think when we get that Mihawk flashback, it will move mountains, baby. Anyways, that's it really. I kind of babbled on a little bit, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I'm out.